Yes. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Happy to be here and excited to hang out with everybody again. It's Easter week Sunday. I hope everybody out there had a wonderful Easter if you're celebrating it. Of course, a gracious hello to our wonderful co-host Angela.
Hello. Ah, with this setup, we
Thanks for.
have.
There we go.
There we go.
I just had to change it. I got a new computer, so I'm still getting some issues uh, taken care of.
Technical difficulties. Gotta love it.
But I finally got a new computer, much to the dismay of Angela and Darren, because I didn't know that they had something in the works. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. That, to be fair, that we had something planned, but it got delayed due to life, the universe, and everything.
Understandable. I did shoot a message out to Darren. I have not heard back from him. Obviously, he has been busy with his store reopening and landscaping and everything going on. So hopefully he'll be able to join us. I hope everybody out there, like I said, had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Good God, Easter. I'm going
Happy-
off of 2 hours of sleep since 9:30 last night. So
Happy Easter to all, and for those not from New England, the Boston Marathon is tomorrow.
and for those who are from New England, congrats to the Celtics on taking Game 1. I was able to watch that game, and I actually enjoyed watching it. And the NBA playoffs.
So we're starting with sports.
That was just fresh on the mind. I know I missed last week's show, aside from a couple of comments in the chat when I was in the van heading to the hotel. How did last week's show go?
Last week's show was entertaining, and despite the fact that neither of us had watched a whole heck of a lot of new anime, we still had a 2-hour conversation.
Which is awesome. We seem to be able to fill the full 2 hours even when we haven't watched much. Like, I know I started off saying that this season I was planning on watching a bunch of shows. Problem is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them I have actually watched, of like the 15 I had written down. A couple of them I have not found. A couple of them I've already dropped.
We have not dropped any. The ones that are on high dive, we're just not gonna watch, given we don't have high dive and there's just so much already.
Yeah, the high dive stuff I have not delved into yet. Like I have been keeping up with Killing Slime season 2, which I'm sure nobody's surprised about that. Can a
Nope.
boy and girl friendship hold up? That one's been pretty good. Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows has been good.
I don't remember if that's one we started.
The Two Perfect Saint I've started. I think I'm behind on that one. That Ninja and Assassin living together, I watched one episode and said no.
That one I know we haven't started yet.
And Catcher in the Ballpark has actually been entertaining.
Catcher in the Ballpark. Catcher in the Ballpark is cute. That one is basic. That one is gonna be, I think, our what I like to call the cute fluffy palette cleanser.
Yeah.
And Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, we watched one episode, and for me, jury's still out.
I've seen a couple episodes of that one, and like the first episode was kind of all over the place. Episode 2, it kind of explained a little bit more of how they got to the chaos.
If they hello, John Knight, good to see ya. Um, my whole thing after only seeing one episode, if they focus on his abilities or just the adventuring, the fantasy aspects, then I'm all for it. If they focus on if the harem becomes the center point, then nope, I'm done.
After 3 episodes, um, after watching the first 3 episodes, which is currently available on Crunchyroll, it like episode 1 shows you all the girls that are around him. Episode 2 explains how they got to where they're at, like how they got to where his home base is. Episode 3 explains how it got to the situation of that he has all 3 clans, basically around him. I don't know where it's going to go from there, but I have a feeling that's going to turn into a harem style anime, and you're going to say, forget this.
I'm hoping it doesn't. I'll give it 3 or 4 episodes before making that decision. But like I said, if it does turn into a harem anime, that's going to be what kills it for me.
I will know for sure after episode 4 drops. Like if episode 4 continues where I think it's going to go, you're going to say, I'm done.
And you know what?
Just knowing your taste.
It's one of those, if you like it, I shouldn't say that, but we've gotten to a point where if I enjoy it, you probably won't, and vice versa, with few exceptions.
And one of those exceptions, Apothecary Diaries, I just watched the latest episode literally an hour ago.
So good.
I talked this show up, and I have to laugh. I'm kind of proud of myself. I talked this show up so much to the engineer I was with last week that the last trip that I was out to Altoona with him, in the hotel, we got in, I think it was like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. I think we checked into the hotel. He told me he was up till 5 o'clock in the morning binge watching his show. I was like, oh, really? Which one? He goes, Apothecary Diaries.
So good.
So he watched like 6 or 7 hours of Apothecary Diaries on Netflix. He's like, it's got a really good story.
It does.
I said, I know. That's the problem. It's really, really good, and it's not what you'd expect.
Oh God. The ice cream. So worth it.
Yeah. We do have a suspicion. My wife brought it to my attention of the newest consort, and then that mysterious girl that keeps hanging around Mao Mao and her friend there with the pigtails, the girl with the green hair. We think my wife kind of thinks that they're one and the same. That consort that's very quiet, nobody, and like Mao Mao doesn't have a connection to, and that other girl that hangs out. We think that she kind of secretly dresses up.
The one that brought them to the bathhouse in the first place?
Yeah.
And we have a Darren.
He is no longer dead.
No.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to y'all too.
We were just discussing Apothecary Diaries, and what we think of it and some of the things.
Yeah, true.
So after having said that about the newest consort, what are your thoughts?
On what?
Apothecary? Apothecary. I was asking Angela.
I don't know. The girl. Definitely, there's definitely the other servant who brought them to the bathhouse. There's definitely more to her story. Whether or not she's one of the concubines is another story. It's not outside the realm of possibility. But we shall see. It's also going to be amusing to me to see when Jinshi cashes in that favor.
Yeah. And I will show you what I mean. Like you look at her face and you look at her eyes.
Yep.
And then what is that? The newest consort there? What was her name?
I want to say it was
Lulan. Thank you.
yeah.
My wife sent me a message with she knew what I was doing.
Yep.
And then you look at the face and eyes on her. It makes you wonder, could they be one and the same? The hair is purple.
The answer is probably.
So you go from, you look at that and you compare.
But we're speculating. And
Yeah.
now,
But that's what's fun to do.
now to show off, does that look? Can you tell what cosplay I have planned out?
Your.
That's 3D. We've been going with the 3D printer, and the idea being at some point I will actually make it to a convention as you're just probably not this year.
Maybe Pop Cult. We're still waiting to hear. Next month, I think, is when, if things happen, we should be hearing.
We will be hearing at the end of the month, early next.
Awesome. Yeah, hello, and like you said, hello, John Knight. He says he finished Yakuza Fiance dub in 2 days, and it was very good romance anime. Animation was beautiful, and the characters were very well done. And he also says today is David Matraga's birthday, last name pronounced Matronga. He is the voice of Shota Todoroki in My Hero, Kochi Asagawa in Psychopath, and
Berthold in Attack on Titan. Very nice, very nice. So, Darren, was it too busy to catch up to start any anime for you?
Yes. To put it in perspective, I was asleep. I was knocked out when the show started, and have been since around 5 o'clock. So, if that says anything.
It does. And John Knight's a few episodes behind us for Apothecary Diaries because he just watched the dub for season 2, episode 12, which would be the end of season 2, part 1. And I believe we're on part 2, episode 3.
I believe so.
Something like that.
I'm trying to look through my emails because I know that we had gotten an email about updated guests
For Anime Boston?
for Kineticon.
Oh.
Kineticon keeps dropping more and more guests. Amongst the most recent to be announced, Faye Mata, who is best known as the voice of Aqua in Konosuba. JB Blanc is going to be there. Stephanie Panicello. Josie McCoy, who we've had on the show. Chris Edgarly. Chantel Vanston, also. Other notables that have been announced include Chris Kaysen, Carrie Walgren's going to be there, Matt Shipman, Brittany Lotta. Of course, as we mentioned before, Bryn April, Damon Mills, Emmy Lowe, Christina V, Robbie Damon, Max Middleman, Ray Chase. So
are you going to come up to Kineticon?
I've applied for press. If we get approved for press, then I am planning that.
All right, keep me posted on that. Because if we do get press, I might be able to make it for a day.
Yep. I thought that there were more guests that had gotten announced after that, and I thought that I accidentally deleted the email, so I was looking through the trash, and I don't see it, so I could be wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me. Oh no, I said the ones that had been added. I deleted the one prior to the one that I just looked at. Okay.
Oh boy.
Although I think Anime Boston did have some new guests that were announced.
Well, turns out Kineticon is the same weekend as an event that I'm actually working in Burlington, Mass.
Ah. And there were, I had an email that came in on the April 15th from Anime Boston saying guest announcements include Japanese voice actress Kana Inose. You have English voice actors Steve Bloom, Kerry Walgren, Caitlin Glass, Bryson Bogus, and Kirk Thornton.
And Ross in the chat says, "Good evening. He was finishing a new episode of Gorilla God Girl, and Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too, Ross. Good to see you."
So, question for you, Darren: did you have any time to do the top 5 list I suggested?
Nope. Sorry. Like I said,
he was dead.
Yeah, you have been going crazy with between the store reopening and spring season and getting customers taken care of and caught up and stuff. I can totally understand.
Yep. Work has just been a little bit crazy right now, due to several things going on.
Understandable. I mean, things have been kind of crazy for me. I've actually been on the same train for about a month now.
Yay.
So, granted, the pool changed. Like the first 2 weeks, I was on. Every like train symbol has 3 pools. You have 1, 2, and 3. For this past week, I was on pool 2. The 2 previous weeks, I was on pool 3, and next week I go back to 3. So, but I'm still going from Allentown to Altoona. But the good thing is I should be here for next Sunday's show because I'll be going out Tuesday and Friday, coming back Wednesday, Saturday. So I should be able to make it for next week's show as well.
Excellent.
So yay!
Woohoo.
At some point, I've got my some of my D&D crew who are also content creators. They're boothing at a bunch of conventions coming up, so I was gonna see about getting them on the show to kind of talk about that.
Oh, of course. Also, talk to your friends at Pop Cult about coming on the show to promote the con, whether or not we get invited.
Oh yeah, no, I've been.
That doesn't matter to me if we get invited or not. I like promoting people.
Agreed. No, Pop Cult. It's all been talking to some of their. I'm friends with a fair amount of their staff, and one of the guys is pushing for. He loves the idea of us doing a live show from the convention.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But nothing is set in stone.
And to answer the question in chat from John, I did finish Headhunted to Another World. I thought it was a decent anime.
Is it just me, or is that really a lot of what we're getting these days is decent, but not a whole heck of a lot stands out?
I'd say, like, for me personally, the last few animes that really have stood out, and like in the last 5 years, I can only think of 3 anime that I would say were absolute, like, what will stick in your mind. It's not just time filler anime. It's shows that actually were really, really good. And that's Jobless Reincarnation, Apothecary Diaries, and Freerun.
I was gonna say, and 2 of them were for you, Freerun and Apothecary Diaries.
So, like the rest of them are shows that they're good, but I don't feel like they would have staying power. Apothecary Diaries is like my version of Delicious in Dungeon to you, where I will recommend that to anybody.
Delicious.
You want a good anime? Watch Apothecary Diaries.
Yes.
It's got a great story. The characters are fun. I love the interaction between Mao Mao and Jinchi. I love, I will say, reading the manga, granted, I'm only like probably 7/8 of the way through volume 2, but the manga hits a little bit differently than the anime does, because you can actually take the time to see like facial expressions and stuff like that. Like if you remember in season 1, a little bit of a spoiler alert if you haven't started it yet. But remember in season 1 when the blue concubine had lost a baby and she was really sick, and Mama was asked by the emperor to take care of her, and she discovered the white face powder, and then she found, and she slapped the girl and drug her by the hair.
Yep.
And the anime, you watch that everything happened quick, and you're like, oh damn. When you see it in the manga and frame by frame, you're like, you don't want to piss this girl off. It hits differently in that scene.
And while I haven't started it yet, I have parts of the light novel on my Kindle. That might be how I occupy my time on my flight coming up.
I don't know how different it is for the light novel, because I know the light novel is not as picture heavy as a manga is.
You know what?
I
We'll
don't
see.
know what the difference is going to be there, because I don't have the light novel. I am getting the manga. I do have the light novel of Realist Hero that I am planning on starting.
Ross has some comments in the chat. He got to watch and finish Blue Box from Friday at midnight, and then finished the rest of 10 episodes last night because it finally got a dub. And he'll be waiting a month on Fire Force Season 3, Black Butler, Emerald Arc, because he's accustomed to the dubs. And I think same with Kowloon, Generic Romance, and Brilliant Healer Shadow. So when all the episode I listed get to episode 9, he's just going to binge.
Which is understandable, because
yeah.
I will be the first to say that sometimes, especially when you're watching a lot of shows and you're watching like one episode of a show per day, and then you have to wait a week and before the next episode of a certain show drops, and you've watched 15 episode 1s or episode 2s or whatever, sometimes it's tough to keep up and know exactly what happens, which I think is part of the reason why I go back and rewatch finished shows a lot of times, because then they hit differently because it's easier to keep up with what's going on as opposed to like we know what happened for Apothecary Diaries because we just watched it. But after I watched, 7, 8, 9 different shows before the next episode drops, am I going to remember everything that happened, or am I going to have to start watching and be like, oh, that's where we're at? And I'm sure, Darren, you've had that happen when trying to keep up with the seasonal animes. I'm sure, Angela, that's happened to you as well.
Oh,
Mhm.
what we do is we usually pick one night during the week, and we'll watch. That'll be anime night, and regardless of what day things go live on Crunchyroll, we're watching every. We're watching What's Up. Although we've been prioritizing Apothecary Diaries and also Windbreaker Season 2, which, if you enjoyed Season 1, Season 2 literally picks up exactly where Season 1 left off, and so far, so good.
And I know, Angela, you said that you're not one that tends to rewatch shows. But if like, and we were talking about this, we spent a good portion of today at my family's for Easter, and they were talking about different shows that they watch on TV. Where we had to wait about 4 years for between season 4 and season 5 of show X, so they're going back and rewatching the first few seasons to remember, okay, this is where they left off and getting ready for the new season that's getting ready to drop. Do you ever do that with an anime if there's been a large amount of time, or?
Honestly, most of them do a recap, or at least a previous. There's enough context to where there's usually enough context where it's fine, where I don't feel the need to.
What about you, Darren? Do you ever go back and rewatch when, like, if they drop a DxD season 5, are you going to go back and binge 1 through 4 to get ready for 5?
Probably not because I know the series so well. And don't forget, we technically are getting more DxD here soon with the spin-off anime, which I'm really hoping is the precursor to a season 5 announcement.
I wonder if that's going to be a wait and see how the spinoff does, and depending on how well it does, will be the determination of whether or not we see a season 5.
And Ross in the chat says since he's waiting for all those dubs during the weekend, since they're on Netflix, he will watch Apothecary Diaries and Free Range as a binge. Hopefully, you get as much enjoyment out of those shows as the rest of us have. I still think Angela would enjoy Free Range, but I know that she's waiting.
At this point, it's just as much time.
Oh, he said he will try to watch and probably consider watching it, is what he meant to say.
Well, if you do, let us know what you think.
Yeah, and I apologize for green screen showing in the background and not the image. Like I said, brand new computer. It's the first time I've really had to try to do things with it, and for whatever reason, the settings for the virtual background, even though I try to apply them, they will not work. So unfortunately, that's why you see the green screen behind me. and not the image like I have had. So I will continue to play with this and hopefully figure it out. But for now, you get a green screen and not the mess that's behind me.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
John Knight in the chat says tomorrow he's going to watch Windbreaker Season 2 dub premiere. And I teased at it last week when you guys were on the show when I was in the chat that not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday prior, I actually went to see the Minecraft movie.
How was Minecraft movie?
I'm not going to lie, I actually enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting what I got. I was expecting it to be a bit cheesier, but the storyline was actually decent. There was some worries when in the trailers you saw pieces where Jack Black is Steve and he's like, this is a crafting table. We were afraid that he was going to announce absolutely everything. This is a crafting table. This is lava. This is, we thought it was going to be something over the top like that. And really it wasn't. He just explained some basic things so that somebody who doesn't know Minecraft could have an understanding a little bit of what Minecraft is. But let's be honest, 99% of the people going to see the Minecraft movie are fanatics of Minecraft anyway. They love the games, either watching streamers, playing it themselves, and have a basic understanding. Has some catchy songs in there. I know that there's been a lot of news of people being obnoxious, rowdy, and destroying theaters during it, which it's horrible that people don't have respect. I'm very thankful that the theater we went to, none of that happened. The most you got was, I am Steve. Some people clapped. When the chicken jockey scene happened, you heard people go, chicken jockey. So, but it was in fun and in pure entertainment of watching the movie. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't obnoxious. It was more kind of, it seemed like it was more kind of along the fun. I could see down the road people treating it similar to how some people treat the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where you could see times where they would make, like some theaters might make it interactive like they do with Rocky Horror. But it was, it really was entertaining, and it was also the first movie that my daughter saw in the theater, and she had a great time, which made it even better for me and my wife. She was very good. She sat through the whole thing, was quiet, enjoyed it, and afterwards it was like we continued talking about the movie, and because she enjoys Minecraft, and so it really was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7.5. I mean, it's not a blockbuster, but the fact that it's doing better than the new Snow White says something.
Don't.
Well,
There's so much I want to say to that, but I'm not going to because at the end of the day, both movies fall 100% in the category of not for me.
Yeah.
And therefore no judgment whatsoever.
We did see a trailer for a movie that's being made that my wife and I both had the same opinion of. Nobody asked for this. Why are they making a Smurfs movie? Especially when Snorks was so much better.
They're trying to make money on the 80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
They're not doing it well.
No, and especially since like the Smurfs movie, from what we saw in the trailers, they're trying to make it a modern Smurfs movie with, like every Smurf has a job. This is streamer Smurf. I'm like, they didn't have that. So now you're just taking an old concept and trying to jerry
Kind of
like jerry rig it into a modern world where really I don't feel like the two worlds really mesh that well.
And Ross agrees with you. Snorks are better.
Thank you, Ross.
And that's exactly it. It's like I was saying to friends yesterday. Movies are going to the movie theater is so expensive these days that I'm going to be extremely picky about what I'm willing to spend money on in a theater.
Mm.
And so, yeah.
Likewise, the theater hasn't put out something I've been interested in a long time. And I think the last couple times I went to a theater was for anime themed events. Anyways,
Yeah.
the Konosuba movie, the Dark Side of Dimensions Yu-Gi-Oh movie, and like one other thing was the last time I went to a theater since I think high school. And I think that we were watching, and I think for that it was either some kind of documentary regarding one of our classes or um, I forget what it was. They did a movie about, I think, was it Maleficent side of the story?
They did do a Maleficent movie.
It might have been that one. I don't. It was one of the Disney villainous live action ones where it was her side of the story.
They did do a Maleficent one that I have not seen. They did one Cruella, which I did see and actually enjoyed it.
I think the one I watched because it was a topic in one of our classes was the Maleficent one.
Now, Cruella came out shortly post lockdown, and when I went to go visit my mom enjoys Disney and asked if I would go see it with her, so we did.
It's funny. I didn't watch 101 Dalmatians until around high school because I just never saw it growing up.
I if there's one thing I've learned, it's you either grew up with Disney and therefore saw everything, or you didn't and you saw like none of it.
Now here's the thing. That was one of the few Disney movies I hadn't seen. I'd seen a lot of others. It's
I
just that for whatever reason that one fell through the cracks.
I've seen most. I saw all the old classics, and then all the new ones up to a certain point, and then once I got to college, kind of stopped until ones interested me.
I the one movie that I had that I still can't figure out if my neighbor ended up borrowing it and never giving it back or what that I'm actually a little disappointed about was my VHS of Robin Hood. Other than that, every single Disney movie that we have is VHS, and
Is
I
that
still
that's
have
the
them at the
animated Robin
house.
Hood?
Yes, the animated Robin Hood.
Oh, that was so good.
It was.
Agreed. And Ross is saying Disney announced that they are halting on making live action movies because of SW. I
What
don't.
is SW?
Snow White.
Well, honestly, they need to quit milking these franchises for what they're worth. I mean, how many times are they going to redo them and hope and pray to survive off of them with worse and worse
Too
stuff about
many.
them every time? Like
That,
do you think anime likes to milk a series? Disney's even worse.
I think that's just entertainment in general now. When you look at how many TV shows seem similar, how many movies are similar. I mean, how many more Marvel movies are we going to see from the Marvel and DC universes?
Too many.
How many times are we going to see them try to remake old TV shows into movies, i.e., A-Team, Dukes of Hazzard?
Again, too
Knight
many.
Rider.
Um, And John Knight in the chat says the English dub for Anne Shirley is now streaming on Crunchyroll. Thus far, a couple episodes in, I think they're doing a good job with it. It definitely hits differently than the books. Definitely hits different from the original live action movie. But and then Ross in the chat says, speaking of Disney, besides him, finally watching it today, but have any of you seen Not Just a Goof behind the scenes documentary of a Goofy movie?
I have not. I've seen the Goofy movie, but I have not seen the documentary behind the scenes.
I will admit I never saw the Goofy movie.
Really?
Really?
Yep.
I'd say the original Goofy movie was pretty decent. I kind of preferred the one where he goes to college.
That was the second one, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I think that was just released at a time when I was not in the age bracket.
Maybe. I think of all the Disney movies, that was one of my dad's favorite, just because it was a father-son bonding type movie, or at least tried to be.
And that makes sense. And that also probably makes sense as to why we didn't see it. And then John Knight in the chat says, for you, Doug, the English dub for I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Level Season 2 is now streaming on Crunchy.
I see. I just saw that they did have episode 1 dubbed. I will probably watch it all in Japanese weekly, and then once everything is done, go back and binge it dubbed. So far, from what I've seen in the first 3 episodes of season 2, it just feels very much the same energy that season 1 had. They're just introducing some more zany characters. So I have no idea where it's going to go, but it hasn't been too bad.
And Ross says, speaking of what we kind of touched on in that ramble about Disney and milking properties that to make money, Star Wars is apparently getting another anime. Visions was okay. Some episodes were fantastic. Some were interesting, but the concept being a bunch of different studios each put out like one episode of something that was Star Wars but had no relation to anything other than like, here's a story about Jedi or here's a story about Sith that is not related to any kind of continuity whatsoever. I thought that was a cool concept.
Yeah. I have never seen Star Wars.
Ditto.
Any of it?
Any of it.
Same.
Because I was a Trekkie. I was more into the Star Trek world than the Star Wars world.
Whereas I've seen bits and I've seen an episode of most Star Trek franchises, but the only series I watched was Picard, and I've seen like a couple of movies from each generation, if you will.
Yeah, I was big into Star Trek Next Generation. I enjoyed some of the original Star Trek. I loved the movie Star Trek Generations, where they brought Kirk and Picard together.
I think I saw that one.
After that, Deep Space Nine, some of the other ones I kind of fell out of because of work and not, being able to keep up with it because either A, not having cable or different reasons. I get that a lot, John. I get yelled at a lot for not having watched Star Wars. I didn't see the movie Grease until I was in my mid-20s.
Well, my dad, he was a Trekkie too instead of a Star Wars person, and my mom was neither, but I want to say she saw more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Star Trek was one of those things where the original series was on Nick at Night, either before or after a show that we actually watched. So I saw a handful of episodes out of the original series that way.
Yeah.
Same with Next Gen. Same, like I've seen a couple of movies with uh, Leonard Nimoy and Shatner. I've seen a couple of the Next Gen movies with Picard. I saw the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, but no, Star Wars was my childhood. Like, I remember one weekend my dad had us watch the original trilogy. Uh,
The most of was it Star Wars, the Star Wars franchise? Yeah, I think it was Star. No, uh,
is Visions on
what
my anime list? Probably not.
where what series was the Hobbit part of again?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Thank you. Sorry, that was something we actually got into in middle school. That was one of the books we read.
Uh,
And that was one of the franchises I never got into either.
I read the first time I read The Hobbit, I was 10. Subsequently, I then immediately tried to read Fellowship of the Ring and struggled. But when the movies came out, I absolutely loved them. And for the Lord of the Rings, I did midnight showings of all three. And we glossed over a comment from Ross. Toy Story 5 is apparently in the works, and Tim Allen announced that there will be a Buzz Lightyear and Woody reuniting Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, but the majority of the movie will be focused on Jessie, who, if I remember correctly, is the cowgirl.
Yeah. The lady cowboy. Or cowgirl,
Yes.
as you said.
Yep. And further proving the point, do we really need a Toy Story 5?
No. I
And
quit watching Toy Story after, I want to say either 2 or 3.
I knew there was more after 2. I just stopped watching after 2.
I think
seen.
I think I saw 2 and then pieces of 3. I don't remember.
I think same. I saw. I've seen 1 in multiple languages because we actually watched Toy Story, the original, in Spanish as part of a Spanish language class. Toy Story 2, I think I watched all of, and then 3, I saw pieces during like a party because it was on. In this Disney is too many sequels, and the thing is, the sequels will make all the money,
and will continue to decline in quality.
And Disney owning both Marvel and Star Wars means same.
Mm-hmm.
And DC is not owned by Disney, but because they're putting out way too many Marvel movies, DC has to put out just as many movies.
Pretty much.
But, you know.
But it is Easter Sunday, and I had asked Ange to make a top 5 list. I'd asked Darren to make a top 5 list. I don't know if either. I know Darren said he did not have the time to make the top 5 list. I asked him. I don't know if Ange has a top 5 favorite candies or not. What?
I realized that I'm picky about candy. Period. And therefore I have more of a bottom 5 than I do a top 5.
That could still be fun.
And this one's a hot take that will probably get me some hate. My absolute least favorite candy, specifically for Easter, is Marshmallow Peeps. I hate them.
Eh.
I'm weird. They're okay, but they need to be a little bit stale.
I think it is entirely possible it boils down to I don't like marshmallow.
Which is understandable.
But that I also don't like Cadbury eggs. The filling tastes weird to me.
Now with the Cadbury eggs, is it the Cadbury cream eggs or the Cadbury mini eggs?
The whatever ones have the funky tasting cream filling.
Okay, so the bigger Cadbury eggs then.
Yes.
With the cream in the middle, because the smaller ones are the hard crunchy shell that's like milk chocolate. They're just like oversized egg shaped M&Ms.
Those are okay.
I like those.
I just prefer dark chocolate. The anything white.
I 100% agree with that statement, Nadia.
You know what? Same. You know what? I'm gonna say anything white chocolate, right out. I don't
Right
care.
out. Eliminated, or
I do not like white chocolate.
you know, in terms of chocolate, I would have to say I prefer white chocolate, then dark chocolate, then milk chocolate. I'm not a chocolate person.
I am very much a chocolate person. I cannot stand white chocolate. I like dark chocolate. Milk chocolate is okay. White chocolate, nope. And then jelly beans are good, but it depends on the flavor. Certain colors are great. Licorice, right out.
Jelly beans, never. I've never been a jelly bean person ever.
Trying to think, what else did I used to get in my Easter basket when I was little?
The chocolate bunny, maybe. Oh wait, we already went over those.
Yeah, the chocolate bunnies are fine. If they were
I'm,
too big, it was just too much.
What about Pez?
I like Pez.
I never really had it often enough to care.
That was a fun one for me. The dispensers were like classic.
Dots were never Easter candy for me.
No thing.
Same.
No.
I wasn't big into dots anyway.
For me, those were more of a occasionally we'd get them on Halloween. Like the little
the little boxes.
The little boxes that had like 4 pieces in it.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, for Easter, the chocolate rabbit was about the only thing I ever really got. And then one year I had a couple of GBA games that were in my Easter basket. Surprisingly, I think it was Cars and the Cars GBA game and Madagascar at the time.
I would for candy, there would always be a chocolate bunny. When I was a little older, Mom actually managed to find a dark chocolate one for me. An assortment of jelly beans, marshmallow peeps, which my sister would always end up with because she loved them. Reese's peanut butter cups, which I absolutely love.
Not a peanut butter person.
But again, that I don't think I don't see Reese's being exclusive to Easter. And then as we get older, there would be random odds and ends, like either for me it would be a couple of paperbacks or a DVD or a CD. Things
I
of
feel
that
like,
nature.
yep. I feel like there was something else I got at one point for Easter as something random, but I don't remember what.
And as teenage girls, we used to get like the costume jewelry, like the occasional costume jewelry. But
And I know for Darren, I had asked him to do a top 5 list of his favorite bunny girls. Because Easter, everybody knows the Easter bunny and stuff, and we know that Darren is our resident bunny girl lover.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious, and I know that you said you didn't have time to put a list together beforehand, but would you be able to pick five out from memory that you could put on the list?
Of course, I can think out a handful. Um, Ironically, there's not a whole lot of quote unquote bunny girls that are in much of any of the series I watch, but the ones that do, they stick out like a sore thumb.
and even I can add a bunny girl to your list, albeit it's from a video game, not anime.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say you in a bunny girl costume.
No.
Been there, done that.
There's no proof. You don't know. But no, a good well done bunny character would be Fran from Final Fantasy 12.
That is one series I never really played. I watched my friend play it back when the PSP was the thing. And that's really about it. Um, and to be fair, the PSP was way ahead of its time, and I'm kind of sad that it kind of just fell to the wayside over the years.
And that is kind of ironic given that uh when my husband proposed, we were both dressed as Final Fantasy characters. But as far as your comments about the PSP, I can agree with them.
That was one system I really would have loved to have owned, but just never did. I ended up being a Nintendo guy instead of a PlayStation guy.
I was not. When I first moved out of mom's house, I had a PlayStation 2 because it also functioned as a DVD player. And then I also at that point in my life had a Nintendo Wii and an Xbox 360. So I wasn't exclusive to any one video game system over the others until much later.
Well, I never had any exposure to any video game systems until my fifth grade year, where my parents surprised me with a Game Boy Advance. And then because of those school fundraisers we used to do, that was how I ended up with my Xbox 360 because I think it was sold the most items for the fundraiser got a 360. And the ironic part was throughout that whole thing, nobody knew about that. Everyone was always focused on the other one was like the raise the most money, and the prize was a bike, like a real good quality mountain bike. And then because my teacher was like, "Hey, you got something else here," and it turned out to be the original 360 console when I was in fifth grade. And it
Yeah.
took me 12 years to get the red ring of death.
Um I don't remember how long it took us to red ring the 360. It it belonged to one of my best friends. He spent so much time living on my couch that the 360 kind of lived in my apartment for years, and then when he moved out permanently, he ended up leaving that with us, and eventually it red ringed, but that was at least 3 apartments later, so probably 8, 9 years.
And the worst part was the red ring. They actually had a somewhat temporary fix for it, which was the weirdest thing. But unfortunately, mine it was a permanent red ring, and I never bothered getting it fixed.
Mm.
Actually, well, did they ever really come up with a quote unquote fix for it, or was it just replace the system?
To the best of my knowledge, it was replace the system.
Okay, because do you remember the temporary fix for it?
Nope.
Basically, you open the disc, you get it, and then you power it on, and you open the disc tray, and then you put something in there to block the disc tray from closing, and it tries to close it like multiple times, and then it does something, and that'll at least buy you 5-10 minutes out of it before it'll red ring again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Comment from the chat saying that Darren will. This is from Ross. Says Darren will hate me for this joke, but his favorite bunny girl is from Ghost Stories.
Never watched it. So I think I know who you're talking about, but
I think I know who he's talking about too, and that's funny.
like I said, I've never seen Ghost Stories through and through. I've only ever seen clips, so
I did make a top 5 bunny girl list as well, Darren. So we'll let you get through your 5, and then I will do my 5. I compiled the images because some of these bunny characters or bunny girl characters from shows are probably shows that neither of you have watched.
well, my bunny girl characters are not necessarily natural bunny girls, but girls that are known for their appearances in bunny girl costumes. Um, with of course number one being my Sakurajima from Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
I figured that she would be number 1.
Of course.
Actually, I figured it was going to be her or one other one, which is probably going to appear on your list.
Number 2 is Shaya from Ari Puertas.
Ross has a comment. Ross has a comment about Shea as well, saying that he didn't like her, even if she did get more mature in season 3.
Sorry, but I really did like Shea. Well, I like Ari Puertas as a whole. Number 3, I believe she's not so much of a bunny girl character, but more she had a scene in a bunny girl outfit, and that's Kurakami Medaka from Medaka Box. Number 4, I'd really have to give the Black Rabbit of Mondaiji or Problem Children.
Okay, that's who that was the other one that I had thought of that you would have had in the number 1 spot. Was either Problem Children or Bunny Girl Senpai, because I remember before Bunny Girl Senpai you talked a lot about Kurosagi.
Yeah, because who doesn't love Black Rabbit? And also, whenever she activates her fighting abilities, her hair color changes.
Do you prefer her blue or pink?
I honestly prefer her blue. What about you?
it's been a while since I've seen it, but I liked her. Like the pink is cute, but I liked her better when she was in blue hair color. Angela's got no idea what we're talking about.
Nope. And that is okay.
And who is number 5 on your list, Aaron?
Actually, I'm gonna have to think about that because I'm trying to remember other bunny girls in general.
While you're thinking, do you want me to pull up my list?
Sure. Let's see. Remind me, was there something bunny related in Amagi Brilliant Park?
I don't remember if there was.
The reason I ask is I just pulled up my list and that show was near the top because of being alphabetical order. I'm like, was there anything bunny related in there with Sento? I don't remember.
I don't remember if there was or not, if I'm being honest.
Well, I'm sure that the bunnies from Demon Lord Retry are somewhere on yours. I'm just gonna call that now.
So what I will do is I will pull up my list. Number 5 on my list is Eve from My Unique Skill Makes Me OP even at level 1. This was a show I told you about that I thought you would like this bunny girl character.
She's carrot obsessed and also deadly.
Yes.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. I never went back and had time to watch the rest of the show, but I always see clips, and her carrot obsession is borderline scary.
It is, but I felt like that was part of her charm. Number 4 on my list, and you were right, Demon Lord Retry did make an appearance. We have Bunny from Demon Lord Retry, Momo. She was just an adorable character, and where the other main bunny girl from the bunny village would say hop after everything. I just really liked how she put attitude, like the English voice actress put a lot of attitude into the bunny every time that she would talk. Number 3 is Cuckoo from Killing Slimes for 300 Years. Though she only appears in a couple of episodes, she is a traveling singer who starts off singing like death rock and like death metal minstrel to the point where she passes out, ends up being taken in by Asuza and the family, and they convince her to change her ways to singing more pop like minstrels. She was a cute character. I thought she was a lot of fun in there. Number 2 on my list, of course, Black Rabbit. I could not put Bunny Girl Senpai because I have not seen it. So I only went with shows that I've actually watched. So, and that Angela is her in the blue hair when we're talking about the difference between blue and pink. I'm not sure if there's any examples of her with pink hair.
Ross.
To be fair, I think Angela would actually.
There's pink hair.
I think Angela would actually watch Problem Children, Doug. I think that show would be a little bit more up her alley. What do you think?
I think she would enjoy it.
Ross in the chat says his favorite bunny girl is Mika from an anime called Angel Tales, voiced by Wendy Lee.
I have never heard of that one.
Likewise.
Same.
But that doesn't mean anything that I haven't heard of it, because there's a lot of shows that we have not seen or heard of that are out there.
Yep.
And number 1 on my list was Sylvie from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
I forgot about her.
A very fiery
Guildmaster.
very fiery and passionate guild master that when it comes down to it, she does what she needs to get the job done. Apparently, and that includes unintentionally seducing the Demon Lord. But I really enjoyed her character. I thought she was a lot of fun. I feel like she added a lot to the series. I don't know if Demon Lord would have been as good if they had a different guild master instead of her. She just kind of was like a perfect fit.
You know, now that I think about it, when it boils down to shows, there seem to be more dragon themed girls or just other animal themed girls than bunny girls. Like, I actually had to think about those because there's not a whole lot of shows with them
And
when it really boils down to it.
And it's funny because, I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, well, I know that Darren and I will probably have one common one, which was Black Rabbit. But I was able to pull four different characters, and I looked up a top 10 list of bunny girls. And, honorable mention that did not make my list, Yoshino from Data Live.
I can see that.
But a lot of people call her a bunny girl, even though I don't really consider her a bunny girl. She just wears a hoodie that's got bunny ears and has the bunny puppet.
Quick question. Didn't the IS girls have a scene with them in bunny outfits? Because I feel like Tatsunashi had one.
I'm not sure.
For some reason, I feel like there was a scene that either Charlotte or Tatsunashi or one of the Infinite Stratus girls or several of them were in a bunny girl outfit. I don't know why.
Yes, Darren, it was Celia. And that's coming from Ross in the chat because if you think I actually knew that, you'd be wrong.
It says Infinite Stratos, Season 2, Episode 5. Bunny Girl Celia. So
never saw Season 2. I've only ever seen clips and pictures from it. So I only ever watched Season 1 of Infinite Stratus, even though I own both seasons.
I have not watched that in a long time. I think it would be fun to go back. Maybe that's what I'll do when I'm stuck in the hotel this week, is go back and start rewatching that. This past trip of being stuck in a hotel, I started rewatching Show by Rock, the original, because it'd been quite a while since I'd watched that, and it was kind of fun to go back and revisit the original with Plasmagica and all of that. So I know John Knight's happy because I'm talking about Show by Rock again.
Oh, I forgot about this. There was another bunny girl in Killing Bites.
There also is a bunny girl in Show by Rock, but she is probably one of my least favorite bunny girl characters. I did not care for Choo Choo. I think she was my least favorite character from Plasmagica. And Angela, I think you need to tilt your camera down a little bit. We can see the way you were, and even with your name there, some of your face is blocked.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
Camera and the computer have decided to be uncooperative, but it is what it is.
At least we've got the camera.
Bingo.
At some point, Darren will get us set up.
Or not.
Oh my god. Doug, look what I found, speaking of bunny girls.
Uh-oh.
See if you remember this series. That was just totally random.
Is this a zombie?
Look at you.
I see that. I see you. Ha.
Mhm. That was the OVA. That was the cover art they used for the OVA. Oh, thank you, Twitch.
Yeah.
June 7th will mark the 10th anniversary of Show by Rock Dub, speaking of.
Hey, Doug, was there any Bunny Girl themed girls in the dungeon? Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
I don't remember. Um,
Oh, I remember there was a scene out of Mayo Cheeky, I think, with with a bunny girl outfit.
I don't know if they had actual, if any of the characters actually showed up as a bunny girl. I know they had bunnies that showed up, like actual rabbits that they had to attack that were monsters. And you find a
Oh, so
lot of
did
figures like Hestia and Eyes Wallenstein bunny girl figure and stuff like that. But I don't think they actually showed up. Apparently, somebody made a bunny girl, Lily Ruka.
that
But
makes sense.
I don't think any of them actually appear as bunny girls. I have not seen seasons like 4 and 5, but from
And
the best of my knowledge, I have not seen it.
you know what's funny? I don't remember there being a bunny themed character in Monster Musume either.
I don't think
Or
there
was
was.
it that? Or was it that reporter?
Hey, Julily in the chat. Shout out to her. It's been a while.
Yes.
And happy Easter, everybody at AZR.
Thank you very much. Happy Easter to you, Jalili. I hope everything is going well. Great to see you in the chat. Great to hear from you. Love that we have so much interaction. Love that you guys come in. Word of note, Ross, keep an eye on your mailbox. I did get that prize packs mailed out to you earlier this week. I just did not due to work. I did not have a chance to send you an email to let you know that it was mailed out. But you should be seeing that probably tomorrow. So, congrats again on winning. I know that it's been a bit since I've been able to get it out just with work and everything going on. I had to wait till I had a moment to breathe and everything so I could get that sent out to you.
Breathing? What's that?
The stuff that I do in between working. If you forget how to do it, they made a song about it. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
This isn't Machine Head.
I had to make the joke.
And you know what? I can't even argue with that. And Ju Lily says, I think there was an anime centered around a bunny girl, and someone told me it was really good, but never got a chance to watch it. And Ross says it will be here tomorrow. I got the notification. Thank you, Doug.
You are very welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Again, congratulations on winning the contest. That we selected you as a winner, and like I said, I don't think you were in the chat at that point in time. So, but yeah, excited about doing that. Not sure when we're gonna have our next contest, but we'll try to do them periodically. we love that you guys spend so much time and energy hanging out with us, and really means the world to all of our listeners and viewers who tune in, whether you're watching us here live on YouTube or you're listening to us on a podcast platform from anywhere in the world. I know Angie said the numbers keep growing, especially
Yep.
internationally from the podcast platform. So
You know what? If you give me a second, I can actually pull that up. Audience.
it's funny that you mentioned Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, Julili. The Bunny Girl from that was Darren's number one Bunny Girl of his top 5 list. Darren loves that series.
Yep. I was gonna go see the movie in theaters, but I forgot. So yeah.
Our Doug, for point of reference, according to the data that Spotify will give me, our audience is global to the point of only 76% of our audience is based in the United States.
Oh my! I think the last time that you showed me that was 85% U.S. Now now it's 76% U.S. I think we had like a 7% in Japan.
There you go. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got 76 U.S., just under 8% Japan, 6.5% located in Suriname, and then we get into a whole lot of other countries where people have found our show.
Which that's like amazing that we are truly international. So thank you to everybody who has found us and has listened to us internationally. It really means a lot.
How do I make this go away? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And Lily wants to know, Darren, where would you rank Bunny Girl, Rascal Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's an 8 for me, easily. It's a very intriguing series. If you like the Classroom of the Elite and Origaru, or my teen romantic comedy Snafu, the main character is kind of like a hybrid of those two in terms of personality. It's all around a very good series, and mine is like ideal waifu or girlfriend material, honestly.
She'll just shakes her head.
You know what?
But
I shake my head at you guys, but you know what? I am entertained just listening to you all go off about bunnies.
And Jalili says it's crazy to see how the program has grown over the years, literally multiplying like rabbits. 2 weeks ago, we actually celebrated our 11th anniversary, our 11-year anniversary. I've been doing this show way too long, but I'm still having fun doing it. And,
the worst part is the show's anniversary coincides with my work anniversary. It's like within a couple of weeks of each other.
And the fun fact was the show's anniversary is technically 2 days after my birthday. So every year it's like celebrate my birthday and then get ready for the anniversary show. It still blows my mind that I've been at this for 11 years. Darren's been around for 11 years, but co-hosting for about 5. And I think Angela's going on year 3.
I think so, because I know I started with a January show, but it's been one heck of an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I have no regrets for getting into doing the show, and I wouldn't know any of you here if I hadn't been talked into and convinced that doing AZR was a good idea. And I've been blessed beyond belief with the stuff we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, you know what? Just a lot has happened because of the show. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being able to get down and meet Darren a couple of times now that we've hung out, and I know, Ange, you're going to get a chance to go down and hang out with Darren next month.
Yep, I am looking forward to that.
Likewise. And like I said, due to the change ups, my time off has been even more so guaranteed than ever. So that was good.
Yay!
Yeah, and the worst part is I still have 2 weeks of vacation to take on top of those 3 days. Um, come by the end of June. So I got 2 weeks in between now and the end of June that I need to take, and that's a little hard right now because some things have happened that, well, I'll just leave it at that.
I was going to say if it was in August, I know the perfect week for you to take off in August. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I would love to, believe me. Unfortunately, the way our hourly vacations work, um, from the time you're given them, you have either a 3 or 4 month window from your anniversary to take them. But if you're salaried, you can take them whenever. And since I'm not salaried, I don't have that luxury, which sucks to an extent, but it worked out perfectly for me because I always took them around Anime-Zing anyway.
Yep.
But like I said, since I wasn't sure regarding those days if I was even going to be able to take vacation, she worked something else out ahead of time. So now I have those 3 days plus, um, in addition to my 2 weeks. So I got to see how that works. And like I said, it's not that she won't let me take it; it's the office.
Yep. And Julie in the chat says that she's happy that AZR is still going strong, even with everything that's been happening in the world. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. It's always fun when we have you on, and I've always admired your performances as an idol singer, and getting a chance to chat with you, meet you at Katsucon many years ago when you won Katsucon Idol was a lot of fun. And hopefully you're still able to be doing the performances and still doing the pop idol stuff, because you are very talented with what you do with that. And hopefully schedules will work out, and maybe we can get you back on the show again in the near future. Ross says that I forgot Choo Choo from Show by Rock. I didn't forget her in my top 5. I don't like her. I think that she, as I stated earlier, she is my least favorite character from Plasmagica and one of my least favorite characters in the franchise of Show by Rock.
And that's saying something.
I like Dagger better than I like Choo Choo, and Dagger is the bad guy. Especially season 1 of Show by Rock, Choo Choo just seemed like such a conniving, backstabbing bitch, if I have to just come out and bluntly say it.
Well, what are you going to do?
Rotary, like if I had to pick a favorite from the 4 girls of Plasmagica, it's a toss-up between Cyan and Rotary. And, part of the reason, I'm not going to lie, part of the reason I went back and rewatched Show by Rock is, if Kineticon is a thing, finally getting a chance to meet Brent April in person, who was the voice of Cyan, is going to be amazing. Of course, Brent's been a guest on the show in the past. And it'll be fun to get her autograph in my Show by Rock art book. I think I have like 8 or 9 signatures in there already. I need to continue to get more. If I can meet Caitlin Glass again, I got her autograph on a Rotary piece that she had at her table because I didn't have the art book at the time. But now that I have the art book,
I'm gonna Julily in the chat says it's a pleasure to talk with you all again too. I do have projects in the works, but I'm performing less. It's still something to look forward to, and I'd love to talk about it if you are open to listen. We are definitely open to listen. Would love any project that you can talk about because we understand with performance and things of that nature with NDAs and whatnot, we don't want to see.
we don't get anybody in trouble.
But anything you can talk about, we would be happy to listen and love to hear it.
Feel free to shoot me an email anytime. I know that's your preferred method of communication. So shoot us an email and we can see about getting stuff in the works. Also, I have since moved, I think, from the last time that we had talked. I'm no longer in New York, now living in Pennsylvania. And due to my work schedule, my time on the show varies from week to week as to whether or not I can make the appearance. But my job does have me traveling to New Jersey, just outside of New York City from time to time. So I do come out to your area every now and then when the train allows it. And she says that she'll send an email, which is awesome. Love to hear from you. Says that she's been moving around too. Moving can be stressful, though. I can totally understand. Trust me, I know how stressful moving can be, because we put ourselves through that. It'll be 2 years. 2 years come July. 2 years ago, come July, when we moved down here to Pennsylvania, and that was all amongst bringing Christy Rothrock to a convention in Vermont, trying to find an apartment, move to Pennsylvania, and then drive to Georgia for training for the company I work for. That was within 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't believe that I was able to pull everything off and everything went smoothly.
Yep.
And Christy was so awesome. I was so happy that we were actually able to get her out for the convention and hang out with her. And she had a good time at the con too, which I was very happy about. I think she even got to live out a dream with getting to see Audrey the man-eating plant.
Yep.
And you had fun on the ET bike.
I had fun, period.
Arguing with Token with the Dead.
They said Plymouth was, you know what, whatever.
All I said was argue. I wasn't going into detail. Vacation. I think I get my planned vacation from my job in November. Until then, it's just try to figure out when I can get days off to get to a couple of conventions, which, depending on scheduling and if things come to fruition, we could be making appearances at Kineticon and Pop Cult Anime Expo in Massachusetts. And if things work out and every piece falls into place, it could be a chance that Darren makes it to Pop Cult too. I know that it's a lot of stuff has to fall right, but it would be amazing if all of us could be in the same location to put on a live show for the first time in AZR history. We've had a lot of firsts with this show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, were you with us when Gavin did a live musical performance, or was that before you came on as a co-host?
That was before.
We'll have to talk with Gavin, see if he wants to do that again, because he had set up a piano and played anime music and did some singing and stuff, which he really enjoyed doing that. That was a lot of fun. I know Angela was a part of our first live tabletop RPG playthrough
Yep.
with Jay Moores, where I had the noob luck of the century, apparently. Where I rolled the D20 of all D20s to end a campaign earlier than it should have.
Yep, you did.
I didn't even know what I was doing, but we still had a good time.
You know what? And that's really what matters.
Mm-hmm. I'm here freaking out. I just hear over the headphones. I can hear I just and he's going nuts. Oh, he found a spring. Okay, that explains it. He found a toy.
Well, of course he did. He's a cat, and that's kind of what they do.
Yeah. Well, we had, you know how cats like to lose toys under furniture. Well, I dug all the stuff out from under the entertainment center where the TV is, and I think we pulled out 7 or 8 springs, 3 other cat toys, and some Christmas decorations that had fallen under there. And the Easter bunny brought my daughter some of those LOLs surprise ball things, and one of them came with like a little soccer ball, and it had rolled under there.
And poor Julily loves cats, but they make her eyes itchy, and oh no, allergic to cats is a sad time.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm allergic to cats, but yet I owned one for 7 years. It's because she was an outside cat. That's why.
But I know Ross, you were talking about the Gorilla God anime. How is that? The Gorilla God's go-to girl. Is that any good? Or I don't think I had that on my list as one that I was going to watch. Oh, another one that I had started watching, The Unaware Meister, hasn't been bad. I'm an episode behind on that. I'll need to catch up on that one. Cherry from Fruit of Evolution.
What about the Fruit of Evolution?
He was trying to remember if Cherry from Fruit of Evolution was a bunny or a dog. I think she's a dog.
I don't think there was a bunny in Fruit of Evolution. And I heard whichever cat that was.
That was Ein's going crazy.
And for the record, I've never seen Fruit of Evolution.
So this is the character he's talking about, and those look like dog ears that are drooping down. If she was a bunny, they would be standing straight up.
Yep. And pro tip, Angela, for Fruit of Evolution, don't.
Yeah. You've heard us make jokes about Saria. That's Fruit of Evolution. Saria is a gorilla that turns into a girl.
And then you also have the horse. And then what were the other animals?
I don't remember. I didn't watch season 2. Season 1 was enough. It's not as bad as some other shows that have similar content to it, but it was not the greatest.
It was bad. I'll just say it was bad. It was watchable, but it was bad.
Okay. I will.
It was still better than Conception, but
well, that's not hard though.
I swear.
Andrew was waiting for me to say that.
Yes, I was.
I couldn't disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting for you to watch Vending Machine.
No.
Well, hey, at least she's watching Interspecies Reviewers. Was there any bunnies in Interspecies Reviewers that you can remember?
I don't remember.
Not that I can remember. Ross says Gorilla God is really good. Sweet story for our main character who just wants to be normal, despite being shy and a little clumsy, but willing to help others. To answer your question, Doug, he's watching the English dub.
Okay.
And Tia Ballard is doing the voice of the main character, apparently.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in a while. Glad that she's still getting out into the anime world. And fun fact, Tia Ballard was the first ever guest on Anime-Zing Radio. I got to meet her once at Anime-Zing. She is such a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. I think I've met her before too. I don't remember.
And yeah, I met her at Anime, and she remembered who we were and that she had been on the show, and did get her autograph on a Rosario Vampire wall scroll case. John Knight says tomorrow is National Tea Day. Any tea drinkers in the house?
Define tea. Tea has too wide of a spectrum.
We know Darren lives off of Bojangles sweet tea.
Or sweet tea in general.
I do enjoy a good cup of tea while I do far more coffee. I do like tea as well.
I drink more coffee.
I don't drink coffee like at all.
The only tea that I like is when you go sit down at a Chinese restaurant and you get that Chinese tea. There's just something about that that's really good.
Oh, Doug, I got a question, and you may or may not know the answer to this.
Purple.
I know you could tell a difference in the food down here from Bojangles than up there. Do you remember if there was really a difference in the quality of the tea between here and there, or no? Or
I did not drink the tea up here. I know that the sweet tea down there, because the first time that I had the Bojangles down there when we visited, you had gotten me a tea, and I drank that on my way to Georgia, and it was really good. I'm just not much of a tea drinker. On the subject of tea, Julie says that chamomile is her favorite tea, and she asked me if it was the oolong tea. I'm guessing that's what it is. I just remember there was a place in Massachusetts that I used to work called Hong Kong Island, and anytime that I would be in there, I would always have the tea, and it was really, really good. Not much of a tea drinker other than that, and I don't really sit down at Chinese restaurants much anymore. It's usually takeout, bring home for the family. So, and it's tough to find a place that was as good as Hong Kong Island and Orchid of Hawaii were. I think Orchid of Hawaii is still around, but I know Hong Kong Island was closed down years ago. The people who owned both of them gave it to the kids. The kids only wanted to run one store, so they sold Hong Kong Island off to Waterwiz, which appeared. Waterwiz used the money movie they got from appearing in Grown Ups.
And speaking of Chinese food, didn't we have some while you were down here?
I think we did. I get Chinese food all over the place. I love Chinese food. I have found that if there's any food that I have never gotten tired of, it's Chinese food. I've gotten sick of pizza, which I never thought would happen. I've gotten sick of pastas and stuff like that from time to time. I have never tired of Chinese food. Even when I worked for the Chinese restaurant, I was always let me get stuff to bring home because it was always so good.
Well, with Chinese food, don't you also have like a greater variety of stuff versus like some other foods to an extent?
Julie says, sick of pizza? That's wild. When you work for Domino's for 7 years, you get sick of pizza when you eat it 3 to 5 times a week.
About to say, I'm sick of Bojangles, so I'm sick of fried chicken.
And Ross wants to sidetrack us, saying, sidetrack y'all, apologize, permission for early notice, but who here likes college football? Because Jordan Peele and Marlon Wayans are making a movie coming later this year titled Him.
Nope. My dad was the college football person, not me.
I watched this.
But I will watch college football before I will watch professional football any day.
I did enjoy watching SU football. But that's only because I lived in Syracuse for many years, and my ex-father-in-law was a season ticket holder for SU men's for SU football, and my ex-brother-in-law and I would go to a lot of the SU men's basketball games.
College sports was something I never really got into much.
Because you have all the Boston major sports teams.
Precisely.
Which is why I never got into college sports teams until I lived in Syracuse, which was a college town.
My dad grew up on college sports, and also he just liked the college rules better than the professional rules. He's like, because he's like college, like you could do more or had a greater variety of options to an extent.
Ross in the chat poking fun at me, saying because Doug worked for Domino's, he never once got a tip from a Ninja Turtle. Which is true. I never got a tip from a Ninja Turtle, but I did get a tip from a taco.
Oh, I was about to say, did you see Master Splinter anywhere? Even if you didn't see the turtles?
No. And I laughed because I worked a Halloween one night, and the apartment that I delivered to, the guy entered the door wearing a taco outfit. So I delivered pizza to a taco.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That same night, I delivered a pizza to a college, like a college apartment where the girl answered the door in just a towel. So that was an interesting night. Halloweens in North New York were a bit crazy.
Well, about to say, I think any holiday night in a college town is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I can honestly say, because I live in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, and we're not far from Kutztown University. Not a lot of stuff really goes crazy here. I don't know if it's because it's a smaller school or if it's more because it's like an upper scale school from what I hear. But like they've cracked down on a lot of the stuff that used to happen in the past with the college kids.
Well, about to say, you do know that we have one of the biggest party schools in the nation, right?
Yes. I've heard the stories of what goes on with North Carolina school.
I was going to say, which school are we talking about?
ECU. East Carolina University. That has the reputation in North Carolina for being the party school.
I've heard tales from there, and I've heard tales from UNC.
Well, don't forget we got several different UNCs, so
and And we've got some more chat. Julily says, you got to eat the real NYC slices at the very least, some of the legit and New Jersey pizza shops here. And she saw Master Splinter's son running around the subway tracks just the other night. Just kidding. And Ross says,
I remember
And-
that quote.
and Ross says, a wise man once said, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Life Lesson
Yeah,
by
but-
Michelangelo, Ninja Turtles' first movie.
But Domino's can't do their 30-minute guarantee anymore because it was the subject of too many lawsuits.
Yeah, some accidents had happened because of Domino's drive, and they never had that when I was working for them. All that had gone by the wayside. That 30 minutes or less was in the days of the Noid.
And that was also in the days of less traffic.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Julie, the next time that I know I'm on a train going to New Jersey, I will email you and tell you where I'll be, and you can bring me a true NYC slice. How's that sound? you can bring me true pizza, because usually I'm in the Newark, New Jersey area when we're in the hotel, somewhere around that area. It's where the rail yards are that we go to, because I work for a railroad now.
Oh, speaking of which, I keep forgetting this, but the little restaurant behind us is actually an Italian family, and it's a pizza restaurant.
That's where you find some of the best pizza, though. When you walk in and they speak Italian and very little English, 9 times out of 10, you know that pizza is going to be amazing.
And exactly, everyone keeps forgetting it's back there, but in the 90s and early 2000s, that place was like one of the hopping places in Fuquay. And we got reacquainted with the owner the other day after our contractor that was working on the store apparently developed a relationship with him while they were doing work. Mainly because
cool.
especially because he was hiding his bobcat from the building inspector over there.
You know, it could be fun talking about comparing foods. Knowing that Angela is going to be going down to visit you, and she gets the true Bojangles experience, North Carolina style. Next time she comes to Philly, see if she can get a car, or if we can kidnap her, bring her to Reading, and she can try the Bojangles in Reading. And then she can compare the two.
I can already tell you, Pennsylvania Bojangles is not going to be as good as North Carolina.
Oh, of course.
That is very much the truth.
But it'd still be fun to have you try them both.
We can do that. But I'm just gonna hot take right now. North Carolina is better.
Why do we always end up going to food and sports?
Because that's who we are.
Besides, I'm gonna try to take Angela as many places that are Southern exclusive while she's here. And since I have the guaranteed days off at this point, I will have more freedom to do so.
And
bring her to Cookout.
That's yep.
There was a potential discussion about actually catching up with our good friend Jay Moulton while I'm down there.
Yep.
Which that could be a lot of fun. Pictures, or it didn't happen.
And
pictures it will be.
And I will also be making a point of hunting down our good friend Jay Moores while I'm at PAX. So there is that.
So About to say you'll be hunting both Jays this year.
Yep.
And I love the job that I have now. I just wish I still had the weekends off like I had when I was with the Ford dealership. Like if I could have made the money I make now and had the time off like I had with the Ford dealership, I would make so many. But it's just tough now because there's a lot of stuff going on between trying to schedule time off from work because it's a seniority system with the railroad. So I can try to get time off, but it's got to be approved. And if too many people have have those days off, then I'm SOL.
Yep. Well, just like with me, I didn't think I was going to get off because of seniority issue, but like I said, my boss made it happen anyway.
And bringing this back to food to kind of tie it all up as we wind down, was the Noid back in the day supposed to be some sort of evil Domino's bunny for Easter reference?
I'm not even sure what the Noid was supposed to be. And you know you're older when you say the Noid and people know what you're talking about.
I was about to say I don't know what that is.
Weird History Food, a YouTube channel that we follow, actually did a thing about the Noid that I vaguely remember watching, and I think it was just a mascot.
And since Darren doesn't know what the Noid is,
that's how we're ending.
Let's bring him up. Darren, this was the Noid.
Right. I vaguely remember something along those lines, but
seriously, look up Weird History Food.
Well, they have something here. It says the tragic story of the Noid. So I don't know exactly what that is, but that's what the Noid was for Domino's back in the day.
Excuse me. And boy, do I feel old at the moment.
You're not old, Angela.
And John Knight in the chat says tomorrow is Doug Erholtz and Zach Aguilar's birthday. So happy birthday to them. Happy birthday to anybody who's tuning in if your birthday is this week. Wish everybody out there a fun, safe week. Keep enjoying the animes. Come back again next Sunday. With all three of us should be here for more craziness, excitement, random conversations,
nonsense, shenanigans, and we will probably talk about food at some point because that's kind of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross says good night, everybody, and happy 420.
Happy Easter, happy 420, and it's kind of weird how that fell this year.
Yep.
I never ate so much.
And and shout out to my friends running the Boston Marathon tomorrow. Good luck to you all.
Yes, be safe out there. For those of you, if you're don't know, every after Easter, every Monday after Easter, they have the Boston Marathon. So definitely a safe and successful marathon. Hopefully, is had by all. Ross is getting high on carrots, just like Eve from my bunny list. And again, until next week, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Stay safe out there. We'll